Hey everyone, it's Will from Garage Built Athlete and welcome along to episode 5, season 2 of the Garage Built Athlete podcast. Today's a little different. Matt and I wanted to push ourselves to see if we could speed things up a little bit, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on how you feel that went. We're always learning. We want to try new things and practice and improve the conversation and also the experience for you, the viewers and listeners. So get your thoughts in the comments below. We're talking supplements today, what we're currently taking, when and why. As we know, it can be an absolute minefield to navigate all of the hype and marketing around all those potions and pills that are meant to make us feel good and look good and everything else that goes along with people trying to make money out of us. Speaking of money, if you do want to spend yours, then everything that we discussed is going to be linked in the description below. When you click on those links and buy a product, there's no extra cost to you, but it does help us out. Something else that helps us out is when you subscribe to the channel, but also, if you're already subscribed, thank you very much. How about share the video with a friend? Not only does it help us grow, but it could help one of your friends nail down some of those pesky supplement questions that have been floating around in their head for a while. So we're halfway through this season, and if you do have any suggestions for topics that you'd like me and Matt to discuss, put them in the comments, let us know, and we'll pop them on the list. And now, without any further delay, sit back, relax, and enjoy a slightly pacier episode 5.
We are live from Garage Built Athlete headquarters UK and mini quarters Austria.
Yeah, it's lights out and away we go. Pre-season testing is underway. Formula One. Let me not forget that because I'm going to want to get into that this year. But that's not why we're here. We haven't got time for that.
No. We haven't got time for any of this. Just go.
Okay. So the topic today, we were inundated with requests for episode 5, the mid-season finale, we might call it.
That's manic. Very.
And, after a lot of deliberation back and forth, we landed on supplements. So supplements is the theme of today's conversation. And we've also set ourselves a little challenge in terms of let's make this punchy.
So we're going to talk really fast and just do it all really quick. No one's going to understand anything.
Yeah, and if you listen back to this in double speed for efficiency, this thing's going to be done in like 7 minutes.
Maybe. Yeah, that's right.
Maybe not.
Let's try.
Yeah, cool. So, supplements, what do you take? Why do you take them? What's the scientific benefit and what's the actual benefit that you feel from them? I think that's the question that I want to know about your current stack. Show me what you got.
I can't physically show you, but I can tell you because it won't fit on my little table. What I've got in my stash right now is at home 2 bags of whey protein. Because I'm on this sneaky challenge still, I'm just keeping protein super high, and it's a super easy way to keep that high. And I managed to find a couple now, which are all right for my little tummy, because sometimes they're a bit rough on the old stomach, aren't they? So I bought some My Protein stuff before, some quite cheap stuff. Other proteins are available. Doesn't really work. But now I have, I think it's called Battery Nutrition. It's quite a reasonable price and decent flavor and not too rough on the old gut soul. So that's good. I've got one at work as well. I have one at work to use.
Mm-hmm.
Then other boring ones. One creatine monohydrate.
Before you get into the boring ones, so you mentioned whey protein. Is there any reason why you like whey over any other kind of protein supplements that are available?
Well, supplements. I like to keep it pretty simple and pretty cheap. And I think this concentrate is quite reasonable price. It's like 43 euros for 2 kilos, I think. Just about 2 kilos. So it's not ultra cheap, but at least it's like reasonably affordable. Because there's the other thing we don't talk about today, but the price of all this stuff has gone absolutely insane, especially for like the main brand stuff is completely bonkers. So this is like an own brand one, a bit of like a white label one. So it's more for the price than anything. Honestly, I think that maybe is a false economy, because if you buy a slightly better quality one, obviously you get a bit more protein in there for your bang for your buck. So this is like 75 grams per 100, and I think a proper like really high quality isolate is touching 90 something, isn't it? 95. So maybe you win there, but texture is good, because isolate texture is horrible. Tastes a bit like burnt spit, nasty, especially depending on the flavors. And that just reminded me of another thing that I'll talk about later. So yeah, not really a mega scientific reason. Affordability, amount you get in a bag for the money, and then being willing to actually pay for it, because some of that stuff is like 90 euros for a tub. I'm like, oh, no, I'm going to spend 90 euros, and that's bonkers. So that is that. Not really a lot of science there.
And
Go on, mate. Hit me.
talking about price, talking about specific products today, everything that I can link will be linked below. So you can go and check out how expensive or not these things are in the notes, in the description. You mentioned that because you're doing this challenge, you want to keep your protein high. Just give us 30 seconds on why that is.
If I keep my protein high, I don't eat any other muck.
Cool.
That's it. And honestly, it looks like it's working really. I think that's the biggest change I made, and it seems to be working really well. I'm basically on almost zero carbs, pretty high fat, because I like a bit of butter and stuff in the old cooking, and avocados I'm getting into a little bit. Pretty good. Had avocado today, that's right. But otherwise, it's like pretty full bore on the old protein. So this helps. And if I have that instead of something rank in the evening, then that works. Creatine monohydrate, lots and lots of studies on that about increasing strength. You get a little weight increase as well. Yeah, there you go. Yours is Impact Creatine. Mine is, I think, by Vast is the brand of mine. I take that every day in the morning with, like I mentioned in the other video, with either some tea or just some water. I've got two. I've got a creatine monohydrate, and then I've got a creatine RX Black, which is like creatine extra. But I'm going to have to check what their secret ingredient is there. It's called estrogen, and I've got no idea why it has estrogen in it. So that one we'll have to come back to later. Two creatines, because they're also good for your brain. Creatine, apparently. So that's a win. And just in general, that's like a proven performance enhancer, isn't it? So those guys. Then I've got multivitamin, which I just bought because I realized that I didn't really have one. And because I'm doing this challenge and not really eating a super balanced diet, which is not super healthy of me, I dropped a little multivitamin in there to make sure that I am trying to cover all the bases. My favorite one is Animal Pack by Universal Nutrition, but that is now really horribly expensive. That's 63 euros for a month, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I've got this one instead called Vitamin 1, which is pretty cool.
You do get about 400 tablets a day with that one, though. So it's pretty good bang.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a powder now, which is nice, which actually I was going to get the powder because I was in the shop and I was going to get the powder to cover it. But there's an orange one and a cherry one. The orange one is really quite okay, quite nice, quite drinkable, because a lot of this stuff is just horrible, isn't it? Like if it's a drink, it's rank. But the orange one of those is pretty good. The cherry one I thought would be nice because I'm a bit of a cherry fan, but it's no cherry 7-Up, mate. That is grim. Honestly.
I have had the powders back in the day. Got them from Heroes in Norwich because they had a really good range. Do you remember? Had a really good supply of animal stuff.
I thought it was quite new, the powder thing. But I would say they're probably my favorite supplement brand because in general, I think that stuff really works quite well. But the only one I've got from them at the moment, so I've got this Vitamin 1 multivitamin. I've got two wild ones. One, this Animal Cuts, which I just jumped on that because I think you used it before and it worked pretty well. So I thought just to get a little bit of an edge through this last loop of challenge, I will try Animal Cuts, and it wasn't such a crazy price, but it's basically like a bonkers mix of stuff. I'll really quickly run through it.
Hmm.
Cola nut powder, no idea what that does. 6 milligrams of caffeine in it. I think that's it. Cola nut powder, caffeine. Guarana powder, actual caffeine, apple cider vinegar, Coleus forscoli extract. It says 20% foreskin. Lysopene, yerba mate, green tea extract again, oolong tea, black tea, coffee extract, cayenne pepper, grapefruit powder, pepper extract, tyrosine, olive, sage powder. There's a bit of natural in there. Natural cocoa powder, cinnamon powder, ginger powder, dandelion powder, juniper powder, celery powder, Siberian ginseng powder. So it's basically like a turbocharger with a diuretic in it, I think.
It's as if every Instagram influencer who has ever said that you need to wake up in the morning and drink like a hot lemon water if you want to get lean has just got every possible thing that you said there just screamed at me, those types of people. But
Yeah.
it does do something. You've got all the
Yeah, it's pretty
diuretics
good.
in there, you've got all
Yeah.
the thermogenic stuff in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The ones that get caught in your throat, and then you're just like, oh no,
I
I'm
mean,
going to be burping this for a week.
it's a wild little packet as well. Like the colors are mad. So this is like they banned some of these colors, I think, on some of these. There's like a titanium dioxide one, which they're not allowed to use anymore. That's a right little stash, that.
Yeah.
So I'm on that one, which actually I thought would make me a bit jittery and so on, but actually don't notice because I take the caffeine pill out. So I don't take the caffeine pill in there,
Okay.
and I just have a coffee. So I've now got, because another one that I like is M Stak, by Animal as well. That one's got a caffeine pill in it, and I take that one out. So I've got a like never-ending stash of caffeine tablets. If anybody wants some, hit me up. I've got millions because like the number of times I've had that and taken the red one out. That's in a little tub.
Oh man, if you've got one red pill and one blue pill, we can have a serious Matrix moment here.
I've got about 1,000 red ones,
Take the
mate.
red pill. So, yeah, if anybody does want any caffeine, then the first one's free, and then after that you have to pay.
£99 down only.
Cool.
So that's my cuts. That is like you say, it's supposed to have this thermogenic effect and a little bit of a sort of turbocharging effect, but I don't notice anything through the day, honestly. Like I don't notice that my heart rate is high or I feel hot or anything. But I take
Mm.
it quite early in the morning before I go to train, and then maybe it's all through and done by the time I
In the
finish training.
training, yeah, getting
It's good.
hot and stuff anyway.
Yeah, because
Your
what I
heart
don't
rate up.
want is to feel all jittery and so on at work, because that's not cool. So by the time I get to work, I'm all right. And then I just have, yeah, so I have a coffee when I'm at the gym. So you could count that as caffeine because I have like the subscription to the coffee machine there. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And then the rest of the day, I just try and have like green tea, and that then takes the edge off all of the caffeine stuff. There's a bit of caffeine in the green tea, isn't there? But not much.
Not a lot.
So that lets me concentrate pretty well. So that's good. And that was it. So I haven't got loads at the moment. Oh, sorry. And then this other crazy one, T100 hardcore andro male.
That sounds that sounds
Maybe
seriously
uh,
testically.
I should have grabbed that one to read off what's in there. I think that one's got like royal bee jelly and ashwagandha and all of this stuff in. I think it's one of those.
Well, I mean, if you
But
want to grab it, I can riff for like 30 seconds whilst you go, your
riff me.
apartment's not that big. Cool. So
1 second.
there's a theme there with your supplements around animal packs. That's
I'm
obviously
back.
a brand you
Yeah,
enjoy and trust.
I'm
And
into it. Yeah,
where's that? It's Universal, right? Universal Nutrition. Is it an
Universal. Yeah,
offshoot of those guys?
it's a sub brand, I guess, of
Hmm.
those, and they're in the States, aren't they? And it's like a family-owned thing. And if you remember way back in the day when I was training in Luton, we were on a forum there, and the people were quite cool. And actually, oh, I'm gonna miss the name now because my mind's gone blank. The monster deadlifting guy on
Lee
Garage Built
Lee
Athlete
Jones.
Jones, Lee Jones. Yeah, he's
Shout
sponsored
out
by Animal,
to
isn't he?
yeah, he's got
Big.
some sort of affiliate link, and we often repost his stuff onto the stories on Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, you can just get a little bit of light content there. Lysander Jones, You are consistently crushing it, and you're an Animal Pack affiliate representative, so you can check him
That
out on
would be
Instagram.
interesting, wouldn't it? To see what is he taking, because he is a big dog.
He's a big dog. Speaking of big
He's a big
dogs,
dog.
thanks for that segue. I'm going to make it work. Last time I said that we were in, top 5 Apple podcasts, didn't I? I was just trying to get that
Yeah.
out there, positive affirmations.
We climbing up the ranks.
Well, with career best effort, PB on views on episode 4. It's like in the 130 views. We've doubled the audience in a week.
Amazing. That's 100% increase in 1 week, and then we should be influencers, shouldn't we?
And I would like to say thank you to everybody who watched that, but also especially to people who shared it, because that's really useful. If you share one of our podcasts with a friend, that's massively helpful. So a little shout out and celebration to Ian and Gemma from the Big Scuba Podcast. Thank you for sharing our content on LinkedIn as well, because that's a nice little touch. I didn't even think of going into LinkedIn, putting this on there, but they did.
Wild. Network effects.
Yeah.
Get that spreading.
That's cool.
So this T100.
Oh my God, look at that. That looks straight out of a pharmacy.
Medical grade. Well, they love it, don't they? The marketing on these supplements was the other thing I was thinking about. It's just insane, isn't it? Like the names and so on that they've got. T100 Hardcore Elite Andro Male with ANDRO with dots in between.
Yeah.
Black Series, Elite Testo Support Blend, free Andro formula, complete Andro cycle, E2 block dihydro cut system. Like, who comes up with this, man? By Olymp Sport Nutrition. But actually, pretty cool, because it isn't as crazy as it sounds. It's basically Tribulus terrestris, which is also a sort of semi-proved testosterone booster, isn't it? So it's got fenugreek, Tribulus, multiple versions, zinc, pomegranate seed extract, oat extract, black pepper, and then dihydro cut system, which I've got no idea what that's in. It says saw palmetto extract, which is good for your prostate, isn't it? I think. And then free.
Well, that thing's about to pop with all the rest of it in there. It's ready to blow.
Free andro formula, maca root extract, nettle extract, magnesium, and vitamin B6. So that brings us circling neatly round to where I did a little review of my stuff and thought I'm missing some critical ones, because if I was going to take a small sample and just say, look, stop buying these like people buy shoes for fun and just to have and just get like your basics in, would be a whey protein. I would use that. Creatine I would go for. Zinc, magnesium I would go for, but it's actually in here, and that explains why, because I was dropping a couple of these before I go to bed, why I'm sleeping all right, I think. So that's quite good, although the magnesium is actually really quite low, so it's not to do with the magnesium, and the zinc is low as well, so that means I probably still need some zinc and some fish oil, and I don't have any fish oil, so I've got all of this weird crap but none of the basics covered.
You jumped on board the hype wagon and you got roped that T100. I mean, who can't get excited
about
wild,
mate.
That
I mean, that's the thing.
T100?
I can't leave that on the shelf, can I? Look at that. Look at the potential in that. What are we talking about? T100 is named after a Terminator.
Yeah, they've got everything. Every box was ticked. When you read out the description of that, every single box, or I just imagined myself back in, what was it called?
Wild.
Fitness 2000 or whatever. Popping out some sweet Arnold presses on my...
Just cranking out those bicep curls.
Gaspari Nutrition pump. And that just sprung to mind.
They're even in mega capsules. On the back of it, it says mega capsules, the world's first mega caps. And then Olymp Labs, the world's first company which has applied to the mass production of dietary supplements the biggest size of capsules under the name Mega Caps / Mega Capsules, made with albumin minerals.
That's amazing. It's such a hook. It reminded me of, I was using some toothpaste the other week at Becky's, and I had to post it on Instagram, and I just found the picture because
I've just read the instructions and realised I've maybe been going over them.
Does it say not for human consumption?
Well, it says 1-3 times a day, and on the back of it says 3 capsules. So I thought you take 3 at once. So I do like
Okay.
3. So I do like 3, and then there was always a rule of thumb that Leon liked to use, which is basically like these have got some sort of safety factor in, so you can normally double it at least, and you're still all right.
Okay.
So I go on like 3 and 3 at the same time.
It's like a one scoop, like where it's then
Yeah,
mounded up and then all the way along your thumb and on your thing.
and
So
you drop a double scoop.
I'll finish my toothpaste story. I found it funny anyway, but it's got this toothpaste and it says nanohydroxapatite toothpaste, and it's I've never seen anything like it. I like the
That's
amount of
science, isn't
effort. Yeah. Well, this is it. The people that are working on T100 and the good people at Boca nanohydroxapatite toothpaste, they need to get on board. They need to get on board with the colonizing Mars effort. Let's stop messing
it?
about with this stuff here and trying to get us to click on ads and things. Let's get these very clever people getting us to Mars.
Wild,
We've
man.
done enough faffing around here. You got to
It's
mega
enough.
capsules.
Yeah. Come on,
Don't.
let's get to mega rocket ships.
Yeah,
You can put
exactly.
some stuff in space with the
Yeah,
effort going into this for sure. That's pretty wild.
yeah.
So that was my realization that I got trapped a bit in the other times. But actually, honestly, I think these are actually pretty good. I would recommend these.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
we'll
they're
link
all
them
right.
in the description below if they're
That's
available
all right.
legally.
Yeah,
In
it's fine.
most of our audience is in the US, so they've got all sorts of wild stuff going on out there. They can
Yeah.
get it all. So yeah.
The other thing I would very briefly say to close off my little loop was
Mhm.
other ones that I like from Animal. M Stak, which is this like hard gainer supplement thing, which is supposed to help with nutrient partitioning. I don't know what it really does, but if you have that, especially the original one, which I think they changed the formula, was insane the first time I took that. The difference in training was just ridiculous. Like I just wanted to train and train and train and train and train. So that really works. Animal Stak, which is the equivalent animal version of this guy, but this one is like €30 and the animal one is about 60. Supercharge. So you mentioned Gaspari pump, which is pretty cool. But back in the day, I think you tried this as well. We had Lee Labrada Supercharge, which
Mm,
was wild. I'll have to find a
mm.
picture of that, or we would have to drop a picture in with this like wild picture of him on the front of it, like with crazy massive dumbbells and so on. Super sick. And what Leon used to like, shout out the other big dog, V8, V8. I
Vegetable
think it
juice.
was no, I think it was by San. V8 by San, I think, was also like a pre-workout thing, and he swore by that one. Yeah. And this shows how old I am, is that I can remember the very first supplements I got being this. Do you remember these? This like creatine, but it was like creatine with sugar in because there was this thing about you had to mix it with glucose to get it to absorb, and they were
Yeah.
grape flavor. And this grape flavor was the most
Mm.
disgusting flavor of anything I've ever tasted in my life. It was awful, and the tub was insane. It was like a kilo tub of this like sugar and some creatine with this grape juice. Never tasted anything like it. I hope you can't buy it anymore because that was disgusting. It was awful, man. So bad, so bad.
So
So
let's
that's my
not mess
very
with Roy.
brief fly through. Yeah, that's my very brief
Okay.
fly through of what I've got, and then couple of topics for later podcast, I reckon. L-Theanine, I've heard of, was listening to Tim Ferriss' podcast. Sounds cool. And they basically described it as like being cracked out. So I'm not sure what happens if you train when you're taking that. We're going to find out the answer.
Yep.
And glutathione, and that one I need to go back to and find out what that is.
Great.
My flying summary.
Thank you.
Hit me with yours because
My
you're
turn.
prepared. Yeah,
I've got a show and
you're
tell. Yeah,
Woo.
I've brought things over, but um, in a throwback to our morning routine, part of my evening routine is to get all my supplements ready for the morning. So that's what I was doing, and I've got them here. So yeah, in the morning, I take an Omega 369.
what I don't have.
Yeah, so that's fish oils. And what I so
Drop that in.
I'll give you the background as to one of the reasons why I take all this stuff is that I started listening very heavily to Andrew Huberman's podcast, so Huberman Labs, and trying to. The original reason was to try and help me with my sleep, and then I just kind of snowballed from there and listened to more and more. So I've got the stuff on sleep, but in that there was an episode where he talked about the benefits of Tongkat Ali and also of omega-3 fatty acids. So I take a Tongkat Ali and an omega-369 in the morning. And I've had to go and find out this information because I've been taking it for quite a while and didn't retain the reasons why it's good for you or why he recommended it, but I looked it up. So the Tongkat Ali, I've only been able to get it from Piping Rock, which is an American company.
Piping Rock.
Piping
There's something
Rock.
to do with.
It's just a supplement website, like a health nutrition website. Because this was hard to come by in the UK, and there was some weird stuff about it. But the benefits are, it's a key point, potential to boost testosterone.
All rights reserved.
Yeah. So it supports healthy testosterone levels, which can influence muscle mass, bone density, and overall vitality. So that's what we're talking about. Yeah. So that's Tongkat Ali in the morning. The omega-369 is to do with, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this, but it's EPA. So you can look up what EPA is all about in omega-3 fatty acids.
Mm-hmm.
Cognitive function, mood regulation, cardiovascular health, and inflammation control. So that's the reason for one of those bad boys.
Is there some sort of ratio on those? Because that's important, isn't it? I think. Like, does it say the split of the 369 in there? Do you need to get a particular one? Because you can buy like just 3, can't you?
Yeah. So I think it's the 3, which is the important thing, but the EPA is what is going to do the good stuff to you. So eicosapentaenoic acid, I shouldn't have bothered, but 2 to 3 grams of that per day is what has the benefit. So if that's in, you got your EPA and your cod livers and your omega-3s, that's all good. Yeah.
You murdered that acid.
Oh, terrible. I'm sorry, acid. I'm sorry, EPA.
Oh, so, just crying.
Yeah. So done those 2. When I get up, I take with me to the gym creatine. So I have that as a blue raspberry drink, that's my creatine monohydrate, blue raspberry, delicious.
Is it actually good?
I enjoy it a lot. No, I really like it. I have it with 500 mils of water because when I train, I like to have a drink there. 1, because I get thirsty, but 2, as a little excuse to have a little break in the middle of a workout. So I go for my drink. It's a crutch I have. And sometimes it depends, like now I'll come back home and I'll still have 300 mil of it left. So then I'll just drink it like throughout the day. But I think there's some importance of the timing of when you take it in terms of regularly having it loaded in your system.
I don't think there is, from what I've heard, because there was a loading phase, wasn't there, where you were supposed to do like a big drop every day. There's also, and we should come back to it because I mentioned it as well before, depending on your body weight, you can take more than what they recommend. Apparently there's been some studies now about like body weight dependent dose. So I started to do a little bit more when I was a bit heavier, but now I'm not heavy anymore. So I'll have to back it off again. But I take a 5 gram scoop.
Cool. So creatine, like you said, benefits of in terms of strength training, but also there's benefits shown of cognitive function. So I'm trying to think a bit better, trying to be able to focus a bit more, but also want those sweet gains. So yeah, creatine's every day, and I think I got this from you, but I think it's one of the, if not the only scientifically proven supplement in terms of like strength training to actually have
I think so.
Have an effect. So those 3 things in the morning. I took caffeine out. I mentioned this before. So I used to have like an energy drink and take that to the gym. Don't do that. On the recommendation of the timing of caffeine is very important to your circadian rhythm and your ability to kind of maintain energy levels throughout the day, like be really consistent. And I have found, hands down, that just took out that mid-afternoon crash because I delayed the caffeine intake I get up and it's probably 2 hours after I wake up. I then have a coffee. So I'm like you, my caffeine comes from a coffee. And when I started doing that instead, I mean, I used to not be able to keep my eyes open in the afternoon. And I thought it was because I got up at like 5:45. But I still do that now, and yet my energy levels throughout the day are so much better. So
Yeah, I've got the same. Same
that's
for me.
been a massive benefit for me. And that is the morning stuff. I'm going to come on to the evening things. So this again was Andrew Huberman approved, kind of like a sleep cocktail, I'd describe it. And I've looked up the reasons for it, but you've touched on a couple of them. So one of them was magnesium threonate, or magnesium L-Theanine. There's different types of magnesium. And the reason that this one works especially well for sleep is because its ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. So it gets absorbed into the brain a lot more readily than other types of magnesium, because you can get like citrulate and some other ones. But so I take that before I go to bed. I think it has helped me stay asleep for longer. I can normally just fall asleep regardless, but that helps me stay asleep. These are the little cocktail I've got going on. The other one is Apigenin. That one is a derivative of chamomile. So you know how people have a chamomile tea to relax? That's basically the equivalent of that, because chamomile tea just tastes like plants. I don't particularly enjoy chamomile tea. Again, helps reduce, or potentially helps reduce anxiety.
No one's going to sue you around here, mate.
Facilitates. Well, I listened to a podcast about that earlier on, because we're going to blow up any minute now. We've got to be careful. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your doctor.
Oh yeah. It's not financial advice.
Yeah,
definitely.
That helps you relax and get into sleep quicker. It's all the same thing, really. These ones. And lastly, the L-Theanine is an amino acid, as it says on the tin. This is another one of his recommendations. Exactly the same, 30 to 60 minutes before I go to bed. So all of these go in all at once, and it is it's not good for people who are particularly sensitive to intense dreams, sleepwalking, or night terrors, apparently. So if you have any of those things, you might want to give that a swerve.
So did you notice some wild dreams on this then? Because for me, when I take magnesium, I go to sleep, can sleep shorter, and my dreams are crazy.
No, this short answer.
Oh, disappointing.
I dream every night. I know a lot of people don't.
Okay. I don't
every night.
All, really.
I know that when I use melatonin, that I have wacky, crazy dreams, definitely. And I don't use that all the time. I use that occasionally, very small dose, when I think I'm going to have trouble getting to sleep. So when I go and work away in a different environment, then I might have like a little half or a quarter of a melatonin gummy. And that, again, helps getting to sleep. But there's some real not issues, but there's some things which have come about because it can be quite disruptive, linked to like puberty can disrupt that kind of thing, and like people are giving
you
to their
finished
kids.
Though, no?
There's some.
You finished.
I think I'm coming into, like, I still haven't got my sideburns, so I'm waiting for those to pop in. So I left something back there. I left something back there. So yes, and I can't blame melatonin for that, because I only just started taking it, but it's meant to enhance sleep quality. There's some stuff about not taking it regularly, or at least just microdosing it if you need to. So yeah,
I would shout out for magnesium, ZMA for sleep, for sure, for me.
Yeah, I have an issue with zinc, so I don't like the Zenome. It makes me feel nauseous, like
Right
proper
trigger.
yak squad.
Oh dear.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have two additional, three additional ones, but two are kind of the same.
Mm.
Um, so I take in the morning. Got this one. This one also gets loaded up. So it's a Stim free pre-workout, which contains zero caffeine, very important, L-citrulline, DL-malate, L-arginine, alpha ketoglutarate, and
They've been
I
hanging out with
want,
these guys, haven't
they have, and I want to say there's some beta-alanine in there, and that's my afternoon beta-alanines for when I train in the afternoon. I'll have that rather than a pump pre-workout. That's the old face tingler made famous by Matt Fraser, CrossFit, several
they? So
multiple
what
time CrossFit champion.
what should it do in a nutshell? What's the point?
Makes your face tingle.
Excellent.
It's like a pre-workout. It kind of
Okay.
increases the
Blood flow, I guess, if it makes your
yeah.
face
Basically,
tingle.
that's the one. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that goes in, and the last one I have, which I've been taking quite regularly, is an
Mm.
electrolyte. So element, magnesium, potassium, sodium, a little salty drink every day. I like the taste, and yeah, helps me keep hydrated. And there's just the normal benefits of electrolyte, regularly having the right levels of electrolytes.
So you're the winner. I
I
thought I
think I
had a
got
lot
the
of
most.
supplements. You
I think
have,
I got the
I
most.
mean, I have been through some eras of having a lot of supplements, but I don't think ever that many. But what I would say when we get into me getting into summaries is I think probably even without these, the benefits of just sorting out your diet and training consistently and getting some sleep is like the most turbocharging supplement you can get, isn't it? But if you need help sleeping, then I'm going to try those ones that you've talked about.
The
It's,
cocktail. The cocktail
yeah.
is good. I'll put the information in the description below. I am very bad at knowing whether a supplement works. I often get
Mm,
asked, "Oh, does it work?" And I'm like, it's really hard because I can't split test it. I can't
yeah.
go, well, this is me on it
Mm,
and this is me
yeah. Yeah.
off
Yeah.
it. And
Mhm.
how do I know if it hasn't been some other thing that I've done recently that's made the difference? So I'm terrible for that, but I do feel that magnesium, apigenin, and theanine has definitely helped my quality of sleep and my ability
That's good.
to
I could do with a
stay
bit of that.
asleep.
I think I'll put that on the
Um,
list.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So we're going to wrap it up today because we've done supplements.
Done our supplements right now, but I think we've got some scope to try some stuff out and see if this works because I can split test this and see what I think of these bad boys.
So yeah, I would absolutely echo what you said. If I'm taking all this stuff and I'm not eating, not looking after myself, basically, if I'm not eating well and I'm not sleeping well, this is just a plaster on a broken leg. So that stuff
Yep.
has to be like fundamentals in there for sure. And when that stuff goes out the window, everything else, as we've explained in previous podcasts, just goes quite quickly out the window too. On future topics, we've got 5 episodes left, and I would really like to know what the people want our hot take on over those next 5 episodes. We will riff whatever we feel like, but it'll be good to get a bit of feedback in terms of what do you want to know the Garage Built Athlete view on. So thank you everybody again for watching. We've given you 20 minutes of your life back on this one. Leon, if you haven't finished maintaining your bike by now, as you like to listen to us
Listen
regularly,
again, go for another lap, or go back to the previous series.
start from the beginning. Did you miss any? We got 4 episodes previous to this. Get caught
I
up.
mean, the previous. There's
Oh, what, season
50
one?
something. Yeah,
That's
that's a monster.
insane. That's the
They're
ramblings
never
of two
ending.
madmen.
Never before listened to that. You could be a
Yeah,
pioneer if you go back and listen to episode 1, because no one in the history of mankind has listened.
that's it. So do that now. Be a pioneer. Episode 1, Series 1. Get on it. Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe if you haven't. Share if you liked it. Like if you shared it. Comment if you don't.
Share if you like it.
Do all that.
Like if you share it. Yeah.
What are you going to say to these people?
Ciao!
See ya.